Hello everyone and welcome back to the Don't Kill My Vibe gardening channel. I'm here to say sorry but not sorry. I wanted to wait to start a lot of my seeds next month in March because I am in northern Tennessee in zone 7 and I really should be waiting until we're like 4 to 6 weeks out from the frost date, from the last frost date to start things, but I just couldn't wait. So I talked myself into planting some of the things that I feel like are more stubborn for me / I have to restart on a lot, and that is eggplants, peppers, and ground cherries, as well as a few other things just for the fun of it. And so I'm going to share that with you in today's video. So since I'm starting so far out from the last frost date, I'm going to plant these in plastic containers, just regular pots, instead of using the tiny little cell starting trays. I also plant in potting mix instead of the seed starting mix that I feel like is kind of expensive and unnecessary. So here are the seeds that I will be planting. I'm mostly doing eggplants, as you can see, 3 different types. We're doing the Rosa Bianca, the Black Beauty, and then the long purple variety. So I'm just dropping 2 seeds per pot for each variety of plant that I am planting. And the reason why I'm doing that, because like these kind of take a long time to germinate because they require heat to germinate, and I don't use a heat mat. So these seeds will probably take a long time, and nothing is more frustrating than planting a bunch of seeds thinking they're going to germinate and then nothing happens. So I'm just going to plant 2 and I will thin them out if they both pop up, but I will be happy with 1 per pot personally. And then I, of course, just like covered up the seeds a little bit. I planted them per the instructions on the back of the seed packets. So it's usually about 1/4 of an inch down to 1/8 of an inch. And then I spritz them with some water with my little mister bottle. And then I put them right underneath the grow lights in my bedroom. And I will be keeping track of these and I will let you guys know once they have sprouted. But as you can see right now, it's all about just keeping them moist and keeping them in the sunny spot. And I turn off the grow lights at night and nothing has popped up yet. I also had space on the shelf for ground cherries, so I did peppers and eggplants as you guys saw, and then added some ground cherries in later. I'm also taking my Brussels sprout outside. If you guys saw it, it used to be in my arrow garden and got way too big for the grow shelf in my living room. And so I've been taking it outside to harden off in the greenhouse where it's going to live now that it's getting a little bit too tall for my shelf. See how it's like an inch away from the light and the leaves burn if it touches the light. So I try not to do that. I'm also misting the carrots on a regular basis that you guys saw me plant in the last video, taking the Brussels sprout out again every single day for an hour longer each day. And I do have some cauliflower sprouting in the greenhouse. This is dill from the arrow garden, so I'm talking fast, and it's also too big for the arrow garden right now, so I have transplanted that, and I'm doing the same thing, just hardening it off and keeping it in the greenhouse with everything else going on in there. And here's what it looked like when it was under the arrow garden. It was just way taller than everything else, and I decided the best thing to do was to move it and get it outside. If it seems like these videos are kind of jumping around, it is because it is winter and I'm not doing garden related things every single day. So whatever I am doing throughout the last week, I am filming and then doing a voiceover later to show you guys just in real time what I've been doing in my garden for the early spring / end of winter. So today I'm actually going to be starting some flowers. I saw that Target had their garden center out, and so I picked up some seeds for some things that I haven't grown and things that I have. So for one, this is celosia. I've seen it pronounced that way. If you want to tell me a different way to pronounce it that will annoy you less, definitely comment that down below. But I've never grown these before. They seem really beautiful and large and like a statement flower to have in the garden. And then I have grown alyssum before, but I have the white variety and I decided to plant the purple variety this year. I will also be planting zinnia, but not anytime soon because in my experience, these sprout insanely fast. So just like the peppers and eggplants, I'm planting these quite a few weeks out from the last frost date, which I don't necessarily need to do, but since I know I'm going to be starting a lot more seeds in the next coming month, I want to get these flowers out of my house, out from underneath the grow lights and into the greenhouse. And the plants that I currently have in my greenhouse are cold hardy vegetables, so Brussels sprouts and cabbage and cauliflower. So those things are actually going to go outside pretty soon, and I'm going to have the space left over in my greenhouse that I can put the flowers in their pots, because most of my flowers this year will be growing in pots and not so much in my garden beds or in the ground. So that's a nice place that I can keep them where they'll be hardened off and ready to go outside as soon as my vegetables are getting ready to go into the greenhouse. So I just went ahead and I labeled all of the pots. So I'm going to be growing 5 little containers of celosia and 2 alyssum. I will probably start more alyssum later, but I'm more excited about the celosia, so I'm going to start that now. So here we are, just dampening off the potting soil with this little teapot of water that I have here. Just making it a little bit damp because I'm going to keep misting it throughout the week to keep it nice and moist and humid. I don't usually use saran wrap or anything to trap the heat and moisture in the pots since I work from home, and it really doesn't bother me having to spritz these plants like once or twice a day. So I just do it that way, and if you prefer to do like a greenhouse method, go ahead and do that. But now I'm just going to drop probably 2 seeds per hole into each plant pot, and I'll show you guys what we do from there. Okay, everybody, I take back what I said. I am not going to put a little hole in here and put the seeds in. I actually read the back of this, and like alyssum, these seeds are super tiny. And instead of saying like bury within a 1/4 to an 1/8 inch into the ground and then cover and then keep moist, these say to actually barely press them into the soil. So instead of creating a hole in each pot, I'm just going to put a seed and then barely press it into the dirt. And then the alyssum actually, I knew this because I grew it last year, the alyssum actually requires light for germination. So you're just going to sprinkle the alyssum on top of the dirt and then keep it underneath the grow lights, and it will grow that way. This is very different than another thing I'm currently growing, which is violas, and they actually like to germinate in darkness. So I have those in my closet right now, and I'll show you guys when they spring up. But it's interesting how different the things can be when it comes to germination and stuff. Like peppers require a lot of heat, these require light. These don't want to be pressed into the soil. Some things want to be buried an inch deep in the soil. And so you just got to read the back of the seed packets. And if you have plants that aren't doing so great, you probably didn't read the directions. And that is actually everything that I currently have going on for this week as far as gardening goes. So I just want to end this by giving you guys a once-over of everything that is currently growing in my bedroom. You guys saw me plant all of these peppers, eggplants, celosia. I did add a dwarf marigold, and the viola back there actually sprouted from my closet. As I said, it sprouted in the dark closet, so I'm surprised to see that that worked. And then down here we have the carnations that I planted about a week ago, some creeping thyme, and then everything else you saw me plant in this video. So thank you guys so much for watching another gardening channel video on the Don't Kale My Vibe channel. If you'd like to follow along with my gardening journey, I'm posting once a week. Feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.